Time for epic relationships.
Yes, sir.
What's up, guys? How's it going? How's it going?
It's going good. How's it going for you?
It's awesome, man. Welcome back. This is always a good time to get some feedback from all you young men out there adventuring, relationshiping.
Yes, sir.
Creating those epic relationships, I hope. So, we have a lot of questions that we come across, and I want to get some feedback from you guys. Like, what is it that makes a relationship epic to you?
Like, you want to go first on that one?
I think you have more experience. You should go first.
I think one of the main things that does make relationships epic is communication. I think that's probably, for me, like the number one thing. That's the number one either detriment of a relationship or number one benefit for one.
So then what kind of communication makes it epic, though? Like, what would you call regular communication, normal, and then like really epic communication?
I'd say like normal communication is just where you say the bare minimum, like the I love yous and all that stuff. But I'd say like epic communication is when you can communicate and be like, hey, I don't like that you did this, or they say that and it goes vice versa, and you guys can like just sit there, communicate, and understand where each of you guys either went wrong or went right.
That's good, man. Good stuff. What do you think there, Muggs?
For me, I think what makes a relationship epic when both partners serve each other, when they're both willing to serve each other and willing to, be selfless and put the other person's feelings or whatever before their own.
It's good stuff, man. So serving each other, like, what does that look like to you, though? Because, there's a lot of cool answers out there.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that really mean when you get down to it? What does that look like? What do you mean to serve? Like, I'm going to, put on my suit and be a butler. Like, how can I help you? May I cook your food, please?
Nah. For me, when I think of serving, I think of it like even in a small sense of, helping her put on her shoes, just getting her bag for her, opening the door for her. And even for her, like if she like notices that I have like something that's bothering me, like taking the time to listen to me about it, taking the time to hear me out. And especially even when like sometimes it's not that we don't want to, but sometimes it's like we're kind of making a sacrifice to do that for the other person. And that to me is when it's like truly serving, when you're sacrificing your own time, your own whatever for someone else out of love, then that to me is really what like great serving in a relationship looks like.
That's awesome. Willing to do whatever it takes for that person, willing to serve them, go the extra mile, even help them put their shoes on. Pretty cool. So then, Jamal, with the communication, you started to talk about it a little bit, like when you're facing maybe even conflict, right? Or something that's not sitting well with you. What is your strategy or your system currently, guys? That's a good one, because this is probably the hottest topic, is about conflict resolution. First of all, let me get your feedback from both of you. What do you think about arguments? Are they beneficial? Are they good? Should you avoid them? Like, this stuff comes up a lot. So what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think conflict with like the goal of resolution is always beneficial, in the sense of like you learn more and more about your partner and learn the things that they don't like. They learn the things I don't like. And one thing I've always noticed too is like certain things or certain problems, us as men, we like to resolve a lot of stuff and like solve the problems, but sometimes those things don't need to be solved. They just need to be heard. And I kind of been learning that like a lot recently. Like with my girlfriend, we kind of do this thing where she'll tell me something that's going on, and now since we've built up communication, I can be like, is this a problem that you want me to help you solve, or a problem that you want me to just help you like listen to you? I say in a sense of like conflict and just discussion, I think it's needed to help grow.
It's good. It's good stuff, man. Awesome. What about you, Muggs? What are your thoughts on that?
I think conflict is necessary, like in a relationship for everyone to grow. You know how iron sharpens iron, for iron to sharpen iron, they have to like hit each other or whatever. But I think conflict should always be one in a sense of bettering either yourself or the other person or the relationship. And also it should always just like come from a place of not having like ego. Because one thing I noticed is like most conflicts that I've seen or like I've seen from other people's relationships is it usually comes to either like miscommunication and the people not understanding each other, but also not wanting to take the time to step back, be like, hold up, what are you saying? So I can really understand. Because usually once people really understand what the other person is saying, then the conflict like resolves itself just there. But I just think conflict always should just come from a place of well communication, making sure that you're not just fighting for yourself, but you're fighting for each other, that everything in the end comes to a betterment of everybody, and just making sure that you really understand what each person is saying.
Good stuff, guys. And you guys have some wisdom, some good wisdom there, and some maturity for sure. So then now thinking about all this, right? Your mindset about conflict and resolution and communication and clarity and all the things you guys brought up, which is fantastic. Epic relationships. Like, what kind of question would you have for me, knowing that we've dealt with tens of thousands of people and thousands of hours of working on this stuff with people? What would you want to learn or grow in this time together?
Well, one question I have is, how do you manage the blending of like family, in a sense of like, once you have your wife, you guys become one in flesh. That means her family is your family and your family is her family. How does that usually look like, and how did you guys do it?
All right, so you're saying blending the family. Now, are you talking about because there's different ethnicities or different languages or different perspectives, different religions? Like, what is the scenario that could bring challenges? Not that it is yet, right? You're looking to the future, so it's good.
Yeah, well, I guess in the sense of different mindsets on things, like I guess like different looks on the world.
Okay, yeah, like maybe even like education or their outlook on whether you should have a PhD or whether you should be doing business for yourself or doing ministry, like things like that, like just mindset and
mindset.
Okay, and awareness. Yeah, I mean, it's the bottom line is you're always going to have those opinions, right? And the biggest thing is to honoring people and allowing them to have their opinions, but not to necessarily receive it unless it's someone that essentially you look up to or you're aspiring to move towards. Meaning, everyone's gonna have their opinion. We have lots of family members, and with our blended family and mixed family, like we have people that are, more spiritual, new ages, to people that are hyper Christian, to very conservative, to very, liberal, all of those mixes, from, also family members that have been in prison and in jail, to doing drugs and alcohol and like addictions. Like, every family has it, man. It's crazy how there's just the different blends and different opinions. What's most important is for you to be confident in your identity and then go after that identity in others. Meaning, like, for instance, what's really important to me is the fact of business and entrepreneurs and being self-sufficient. And so that's why we've locked arms with Abraham Gray. Do I agree with everything that Abraham is doing? And well, Abraham, again, doesn't necessarily have a religious stance, and he actually doesn't like religion, right? And yet I align myself with Abraham, not on a religious stance, or I'm going to him to learn about God and spiritual things. That's not why I'm here, and not why I'm partnering with him. I'm partnering with him to learn and grow in the financial aspect and real estate, investing and buying businesses and running business as well, and growing them to $100 million level that he's done, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's why I'm here. So for me, it's like, it's part of understanding I get to design my life, but in order to design it and not be discouraged, influenced in a negative way by people, I have to be confident in who I am and know what I believe. And I think a lot of it comes up even in beliefs, right? The spiritual one is a very good thing. And that's why I'm constantly asking this question to myself. And we go through this, and we have our content in our course that asks this question every 9 weeks to you. You'll repeat and press play again, and it says to you, what do you believe and why? It's important to know that on all different aspects of life. So then the important thing is to find your bride, find your epic soulmate, connect with her, become one flesh, and then start even before you get married. Those are good questions to ask, to ask her and to ask yourself, what do I believe and why? Do I believe what I believe because that's what my parents told me, or because I was raised in it? Or have I actually questioned what I believe and understand why I believe it, and then feel more confident in it? That question alone, it's going to go through a cycle where it's going to cause a little bit of unsurety, and you're like, I only believe this because my parents told me. Oh my goodness, wait. But then as you go on the journey of understanding what you believe and why, and then you can determine, yes, this is why I believe that, and then do that with your one flesh, right? Or your one flesh to be, as you guys are exploring relationships. It makes all the difference, man, because then you guys get to create and design your life. And then what happens is you can honor and bless everyone in their beliefs. And it's always such a blessing to me, because we tend to lean more towards the messianic belief system. And hearing my wife talk about it, it's just like I'm talking about it. It's so cool to hear her and hear her confidence in that. And I mean, we hear from people, like I said, New Age or highly conservative, even Catholic, Christian, Baptist, and all these different realms and backgrounds. And we love and honor them. However, it doesn't mean that we have to agree with them or believe what they believe. We already know what we believe, and we already know why we believe it. And so that really solidifies things. I would encourage you to do is to really just know that you can answer that question, what you believe and why, and then coordinate that with your future bride. Like, hey, what do you believe and why? And then, man, me too. And then start really solidifying that and encouraging each other in those beliefs so that you can truly be strong in what you believe. And yes, honor people. But then, like I said, when it comes to someone that doesn't have a belief in God, doesn't have to impact you, you can still learn from them and honor them and gain wisdom from the area that you want to gain from them. But you don't have to come into agreement with them in that area, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it, is just above all else, man, you're just honoring people right where they are and looking for the good in what it is they're conveying.